Okay, so I just want to talk to you about a potential opportunity on the cross-currency pair Euro-Aussie. Not only does it look good from a technical standpoint, looking at the charts based on a variety of different timeframes, it also looks good from a fundamental standpoint, given the disparity between Europe and Australia. Essentially, things are a lot stronger in Australia economically than Europe at the moment, but we do have a technical entry for a short, speculating that the euro is going to weaken against the Aussie dollar. But let's talk about the technicals, as we're technical traders first. First and foremost, we can see that this cross pair has done nothing but range ever since 1992. It wasn't until 2010 that we break through this floor, had a big extension to the downside, and what was a decent level of support at 1.5555 has now turned to resistance before the move downwards, where old support became new resistance around about here in January last year, so exactly a year ago. But what is interesting here, please bear in mind we are looking at the monthly. We could potentially be making a lower high before the move to the downside here. And we can see this more acutely on the weekly time frame, where week before last closed as a bearish pin bar reversal here, testing what was a head and shoulders formation here, i.e. January time. The neckline, as we can see where my mouse is, has now been tested as resistance. And what we're looking at here is a potential continuation to the downside here, because when we do get, even though this is on the weekly time frame, when we get a level of support broken and the downward move thereafter, typically you get a retest followed by the continuation. And where we've got last week closing as a very small bearish pin bar reversal as well. I know it was a Christmas week, which is something of an anomaly when you look at the lighter volumes, but still what we can see here is the potential retest and continuation to the downside here. Please remember that we are shorting the euro versus the Aussie dollar. Euro, in the Eurozone, the interest rate is far smaller, or far less, shall I say, than in Australia, which is 2.5% plus. And typically the money will flow to the country or the trading bloc which has the higher interest rate, because they're getting a much higher appreciation on their money. Furthermore, economic data in Europe is far less rosy than in Australia. I know it's been mixed lately in Australia, given their dependence on China and the mixed picture in China, but compared to Europe, it is a lot better. So from a technical standpoint, we are looking at potentially taking advantage of a decent downward move. We've got a bearish pin bar reversal week before last, closing on the 15th of December. And what conservative price action based trader would do is simply place their entry just below the low of the week before last, with their stop loss above the high, plus spread plus an extra pip, and they'll look to trade it short for a potential continuation. Please rest assured, looking on the monthly, going back to the monthly again, based on the initial retest this time last year, back in January 2014, we had the initial move down. It didn't go down very much, but typically what we could see here is the all-important lower high before the downward move accelerates. Certainly the fundamental pictures add up and fit in with this. The interest rate in Europe is far lower than what it is in Australia, and the economic picture in Europe is far less desirable than it is in Australia. What is interesting as well is seasonality. Typically, based on the last 20 years of data, the euro in January is pretty bearish, whereas in January, the Aussie dollar is pretty bullish. So once again, we've got this disparity. In fact, we've got quite a few reasons in support of this short on the weekly time frame. So we've got seasonality in favor of a short. Typically, the euro goes down at this time of the year, whereas the Aussie dollar goes up. We've got the disparity in economies. Europe is doing far worse than Australia. And we've got, on a technical picture, we've got the retest this time last year. We've got a potential lower high followed by the continuation to the downside. The only thing really that doesn't look great about this technical setup, looking at what could be interpreted as a 5-wave formation is the fact that it hasn't quite finished this 5-wave formation. So those people who look at Elliott waves, admittedly it's not something that I really look at too closely, but I just want to give you the full picture here based on my best interpretation of the charts. If we were to look at this as an Elliott wave, so we've got wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, we're still waiting for the C, and a potential continuation to the upside. That's the only thing I don't like about this. But in support of the fact that we've got the technicals and the fundamentals on this, we could at least move our trade to a position where we're at break even and we can take advantage of a free trade. And if it does confirm itself as an Elliott wave, the 5th wave essentially, then we can at least our stop loss move to break even and benefit from a free trade. Please remember that because we are benefiting from positive rollover by virtue of the fact we're shorting the euro and essentially going long on the Aussie dollar, we will be making a small amount of money from the rollover every night anyway. Okay, so please remember that anything can happen in the markets, anything can happen at any time. The market will do its thing regardless, but certainly based on our best interpretation of the charts and wider knowledge of the markets, this does look good for at least a medium-term sell.
What do you think of that? Trading does not have to be difficult or time-consuming. In fact, all you need to become a profitable lazy trader is a single strategy which you can trade for only minutes a day. Visit thelazytrader.com and download for free 5 rapid ways to become highly profitable at Forex trading and your trade secret video pack so that you can copy the winning elite and rapidly accelerate your long-term success in financial markets trading. Trade profitably from as little as minutes a day and beat the banks and brokers at their own game. This is available for a limited time, so download it today. www.thelazytrader.com. It's free, fun, and most importantly, it will help you. Visit thelazytrader.com.